Imagine that every time you use your car, it ended up at the bottom of the ocean, without any option to get it back. You go in, use it for whatever thing you need to do, and then it disappears, forever. And if you want to use it again, you need to buy a new one. Wouldn't that be stupid? Wouldn't that be stupidly expensive? You would never use your car. In fact, you wouldn't even own a car in the first place. No one would have it. What sane person would have a vehicle that can be used only once? Perhaps the government, which loves to throw money around, and they will tell you it's for your own good, that we are boosting the economy and creating important jobs. Maybe a large company, with very specific needs and a substantial budget, that could afford such luxuries. Or an extremely wealthy person who wants to enjoy a drive, even if it means extravagant spending. But not you. You would only dream of it. You would only fantasize of driving such a thing and experiencing what it is like. You would be excited to watch them on television, and you would probably think they are the coolest things in the world. Does all of this sound a bit stupid? Well, that's exactly what happened with rockets, until now. Rockets are incredible machines, capable of delivering satellites into orbit, to put telescopes in space, and to send people to the moon. But they are also the most inefficient vehicle that has ever existed. You spend tens or hundreds of millions for a thing that will be used only once. I don't think this happens in any other case. Any machine that costs that much money is used for years or even decades, not thrown away into the ocean after its first and only use. But rockets are different. For starters, the demand for rockets has never been such that it made sense to make them reusable. It is not like we were using thousands of them each day like airplanes. And there is the fact that they are one of the most complicated things to make. They are the literal definition of something difficult. It is rocket science. Also, there was never an incentive to make these things cheap or more cost efficient, as the government loves when they have an excuse to spend a lot of money, and what better excuse than claiming that it was the only way. And all of that was okay, at least during the last century, as there was no market for more rocket uses, and the only customers were governments and big corporations who could afford the expensive costs. But not anymore. Right now, there is a lot of people and enterprises that would benefit to send something into orbit if it was cheaper. You don't need to spend millions to build a satellite. With the current technologies, you can make them smaller and cheaper. So now, we have a market for affordable, reliable launches, and now we have the economic incentives to do it. That was probably what Elon Musk thought when he decided to create SpaceX, as the goal of reusability was there since the first day. Even the Falcon 1 had some type of parachute to try to recover its parts, but it wasn't until 2015 and with the Falcon 9 that they were able to land a rocket booster. It was a crazy idea, and many people laughed when they started putting legs into the rocket booster, but it ended up being the best option to take the space industry to the next level. But what does it mean in reality to have reusable rockets? What capabilities will this unlock for all of us? I could talk for hours about gigantic satellite constellations, big telescopes and incredible space stations, and in future videos I probably will. But the real impact cannot be imagined right now. It would be like asking someone 200 years ago what impact would cars have. It is impossible to foresee. So a better way to see it is to think about what things in your daily life would be impossible if any vehicle could be used only once, if cars could be used only once. Just think about it. Holidays in another country? Nope. Eating food that was not made in your same zone? Nope. Being able to go to another place to work or study? Very expensive, and you couldn't go back home for Christmas. It would be a one-way trip. Toys from China? Nope. Microchips from Taiwan? Maybe because they are small, but they would cost a lot more, and so on and so on. You get the idea. It will be almost like going back to the Middle Ages. That's where we are now in terms of space. We are like some Vikings who have sent a couple of boats to the New World and done 1 or 2 trips to the closest island, but we still have a whole universe to explore and discover. And the only way to do that is by building reusable rockets, and I don't mean only Starship. If we ever want to have space colonies and visit other planets, we will need a lot more, and I hope that someone else tries as hard as SpaceX, because we will need it. The changing paradigm will be immense. The number of things that we will be able to do in space will grow like crazy. I'm not a big fan of cruise ships, but I would for sure spend a huge amount of money to go into a space cruise ship around the Earth or the Moon. And this will be possible, maybe not in the next years, but sometime in the not so long future. We cannot even imagine the opportunities that this will open, the new technologies that will be developed, and the huge amount of incredible things that we will be able to do. Today, We live in an amazing world, with the best conditions we've ever had, but somehow we are always sad and focusing on the bad things that happen. The news always tells us how horrible everything is and how we are responsible for it all. But it's not true. We live better than ever before, and the future is more promising than it's ever been. So instead of worrying about things that are beyond our control, let's dream and focus on those incredible things that may seem far away now, but that we could have someday. As always, take care and learn more.